Most people imagine any collapse like a switch flipping. One moment everything's normal, the next chaos erupts. But that's not how it works. The reality is far quieter and far deadlier. Because the first week of a nationwide collapse doesn't destroy society, it exposes it. It reveals who was prepared, who wasn't, and who's now trapped in a system that no longer exists. And the hard truth is this: 90% of Americans will fail in the first 7 days. Now, it's not because they're weak and it's not because they're careless, but because they've built their entire lives inside a world that functions flawlessly until it doesn't. Most people don't understand what actually kills in the first week. It's not the violence, it's not the mobs, it's not the dramatic Hollywood breakdown. It's the collapse of everyday systems that modern Americans depend on for survival without even realizing it. Let's talk about why the first week is the most dangerous and why the majority of the population simply won't make it through. The first thing that destroys people isn't hunger or thirst. It's denial, normalcy bias, the belief that because yesterday looked normal, tomorrow will too. Even when the lights stay off, even when the water stops, even when the stores close and the sirens fade, most people will still convince themselves that someone, somewhere is going to come and fix it. That mindset steals the one thing you need in a crisis: time. While prepared households are filling water containers, securing their homes, checking supplies, and establishing communication, everyone else is wasting the most valuable hours waiting for the world to return to normal. By the time they realize it won't, that window is slammed shut. Then comes the second killer, the collapse of dependencies. Modern life is built on invisible pillars: power, water, medication, transportation, refrigeration, and communication. When any one of these fails, people struggle. But when all of them fail at once, most Americans simply don't have the ability to sustain themselves. The average household has less than 3 days of food. Most keep almost no water stored. Millions rely on refrigerated medications. Millions more depend on daily prescriptions just to function. A huge portion of the population can't travel without fuel, can't navigate without GPS, and can't communicate without a cell signal. When those systems disappear, people don't just face inconveniences. They face survival math for the first time in their lives. The third reason almost all Americans are going to fail is something no one talks about: the collapse of cleanliness and sanitation. People imagine gangs, marauders, and looters, but in every historical collapse, the first mass casualties come from simple things: contaminated water, spoiled food, infections, disease, and dehydration. Without running water, hygiene fails. Without trash removal, waste piles up. Without refrigeration, food spoils. Without power, the sewer systems start to overflow. Within days, waterborne illnesses explode. Everything people take for granted suddenly becomes a hazard. Most won't recognize the danger until it's already inside their home or inside their body. And then there's the obvious psychological shift. The moment people realize that no one is coming, no fire trucks, no ambulances, no police, no FEMA convoys pulling into every parking lot, the government might still exist, but it no longer exists for the average person. That realization breaks people long before the hunger does. Once fear sets in, people make panic decisions. They leave at the wrong time. They stay in the wrong place. They trust the wrong people. They go looking for help and walk straight into danger. Panic is its own predator. In the first week, it hunts everyone who isn't mentally prepared. But the most dangerous part of the first week isn't the population losing control. It's the system itself collapsing under its own weight. Think about what actually happens. Water pressure disappears. Hospitals run out of supplies. Dialysis stops. Medications run out. Food distribution halts. The fuel dries up. Banks close. Electronic payments fail. Trash piles up. Sewage backs up. Police are overwhelmed. Fire crews are non-existent. Grocery stores turn empty. Highways become parking lots of abandoned cars. It doesn't take a month for this to happen. It happens in days. And then there's the darkest part. When people reach the point of desperation, they don't turn into the best versions of themselves. They turn into versions their survival demands. A neighbor who seems kind on day 1 might be unrecognizable by day 7. Families with starving children will do anything to feed them. People who spend their whole lives obeying laws suddenly find themselves living in a world with no consequences and no order. It's not evil, it's pure desperation. And desperation is the most dangerous force in any collapse. So why do most Americans fail? Because they've never lived without the safety net. They don't store food because grocery stores have always been open. They don't store water because it flows from the tap. They don't learn medical skills because hospitals have always been nearby. They don't learn navigation because their phones have always done it for them. They don't build community because the system has always carried that weight. Most Americans aren't weak. They're simply untrained. The first week exposes the truth. No one's coming to save you. Your survival depends on what you did before day one, not after. But here's the part most people don't pay attention to. Survival isn't about the gear you have. It's about awareness. It's about discipline. It's about the ability to stay calm while the world around you fractures. If you understand how and why people fail, you're already miles ahead of the herd. And when the first week ends, that's when the real test begins, because the world past day 7 is nothing like the one before it. And most people will never reach that point if they're unprepared. This is Appalachian Prepper. Stay vigilant, stay ready, and as always, stay safe out there.